Today I want to talk about the cost of being strong and what it really does to our feminine energy, and not just to ourselves but to our communities and the society in general, because so often we are forced to carry everything ourselves, not because we want to, not because we're unable to express our needs, but just because time and time and time, when we speak up, when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, instead of reciprocity, we are met with silence, neglect, negligence, and just cowardice of whether it is people in our life that are there to support us or just life in general. And it could trap in this perpetual cycle of mistrust and disbelief and just too much of self-reliance. And self-reliance is not wrong, but I do think that we are just not meant to carry everything on our own shoulders. And especially if you are a person who is already struggling with asking for help, and then like just reaching out and opening your heart a bit and allowing yourself to be vulnerable just to be met with silence is so unfair and just so damaging. And I think it's damaging not only to the person who is asking, but also to the person who is remaining in their own cocoon of boundaries and self-protection, instead of opening their hearts and building a bridge and connecting to someone that might need them. And I have such a crazy personal story, many of them, but this one really stuck with me. It was when I had an anaphylactic shock. And anaphylactic shock is basically your throat is closing and you start to die from allergy. I'm very allergic to wasps and hornets, yellow jackets, and I got attacked by an entire hive of wasps. And since I had my EpiPen, but since the hive was right next to my door, I actually was not able to get into the house and get my Epi, get my phone, get wherever. And I was living in the country, I didn't have a car, everyone around me were gone. It was middle of the week and I was packing to go to my art tour. And so I started to run, and I got to a house of a neighbor that I didn't know, but it was the closest neighbor that lived to me, and I knocked on the door. She opened, and I knocked to the door, and she answered. And so I was like, oh my God, like relief. So I'm explaining, hey, like I have an anaphylactic shock. Can you please call an ambulance for me? Because I have literally minutes, I will die. And this woman was looking at me through the peephole, and she freaked out. Like she was afraid. Like I was, I don't know, disturbing her peace, or she didn't feel prepared or whatever, and she just started to come up with the most lame excuses ever. I don't really remember everything that she said to me. It was like she didn't have a phone, she didn't know how to call an ambulance. Like it was just like crazy. It was crazy excuses that she was justifying her fear and her cowardice. And I could not believe in that. I just kept knocking. I was like, I'm dying. I'm literally dying. Can you open the door for me? Can you call an ambulance for me? And she did not. Obviously, I survived. I ran further. The next set of neighbors were actually really, really far away. And that day I came so close to death that my body started to shut down already. And on the way back, when I was coming from the ambulance, when I was coming from the hospital, and I kept thinking of that woman. Like, how could you see someone dying on your doorsteps and be so immersed in your own fear, in your own excuses, in your own bullshit? Like, literally, you could have saved a life. And instead, you've chosen to close a door, or not even open a door to that possibility. And I know that this is a very dramatic example, but so often that happens, whether it is in relationships or in glass ceilings or in wherever ways that we experience life, where we are knocking in those doors, whether it is the doors of the opportunities or the doors of someone's heart, and they choose to remain silent. They choose to stay in their fear. They choose to not open a door. And that is just so mind-boggling to me. Like, how can you turn away from this? But that's the reality of our life. So the message that I want you to take from this, just kind of look around your life, and like, what are those doors that you keep closed? Why there are so many walls around? Because what happens is, when we build so much walls around ourselves, is, yes, it is protection, but also it makes us shrink. It makes us small. It makes us weak instead of being strong, instead of being big. Because when you are, I know that there is a fear, but when you are big, when you are strong, when you are large, when your energy is large, when your being is large, when your being is expansive instead of shrink down, those things are not a threat for you. Most of things are not a threat for you. And closing down like that, sometimes it does make sense, but most of the time it does not give us what we want. Because once you shut down one door, another door, another door, another door, you may find yourself imprisoned in the walls that you've created yourself. So don't live in the maze of your mind, in the maze of your own construction. Get yourself free, get yourself out there, get yourself open, get yourself to feel love, the current of love. That's what makes us strong. That's what gives you a real protection, not the one that comes from artificial constructs, but the one that is real.